we like to acknowledge the land that we are on. So the campus, Railroad University, is on the land of the Lackawanna and Kasapsan families and nations, which are known as well as the Sunhi and Esquimalt. So we are pleased to be working here, living, working, playing, learning on these lands. And we acknowledge that those indigenous families and communities have been here way for thousands of years in the past, they're still present, and they will be here in the future. And indigenous and non-indigenous people come together to celebrate that, especially in the month of June. We have a few celebrations happening at Railroad University. I'll make sure to put the link later in the chat and in the recording. So today we're here to talk about the Bachelor of Arts in Interdisciplinary Studies. I am with Shelley Jones, Program Head, Willem van Doesburg, our Program Advisor, and myself, I'm Nancy Prévost-Maurice, an Education Specialist at Railroads. So I don't know if Shelley and Willem, you just want to say a quick hi.
Good morning, everyone. Thanks so much for joining us today.
Good morning, everyone. My name is Willem, and happy that you are here.
Thank you so much. And I'll just move ahead with the agenda. So quick agenda for today. We'll talk about Railroads. How is it to be a student at Railroads? No, we don't have a grad today. I should have changed that. We'll talk about the program information, so hearing from Willem and Shelley about the program, and we'll discuss about admission, application, enrollment, all the questions you might have. And maybe use the chat option right now to introduce yourself. You can maybe acknowledge the land that you're joining on, if you know it. And the next slide here, why explore Railroad University? So a few bullets for you just to get to know Railroad a little bit more. So we see life as a qualification. What does that mean is that we embrace who you are, your past experiences, what you bring to the cohort, and where you want to go. So it's not just about the transcript and not just about the studies you have done. It's really about who you are, your volunteer experiences, and yeah, your goals in life. Prof who know your name, that's very important. I'm a student myself at Railroad, and everybody at Railroad will know your name. So you don't really go by ID number, you really know by your name, and you become friends and colleagues with and with your prof as well. Learning based on life. What is very nice at Railroad is that you can bring real life problems. So what you see at work and what you see in your personal life, and you can bring it to the class and chat about it and learn from it. So what you learn in class, you can apply the very next day in your work space. So that's very cool. Connection for life, a little bit like I mentioned, you will really build relationship with your cohort. Even if this program is not a cohort based, you will still meet people in many courses, and those people you connect on LinkedIn sometime, or you would do some events with them, or those connections will last for life. We have a beautiful network of thousands of alumni everywhere in the world, and even your prof, you become kind of connected with them and you can ask questions. Most of our instructors are working in the industry, so they know so much and they're very connected themselves. And we were built differently. What does that mean? Is that since day one, for 25 years, at Railroads, we do online learning. So we have that blended learning that we will talk about, and it's really at the core of the university since day one. So it's not something we have done to pivot over the past years. It's really something that we are very strong at and that we have done for many, many years. I don't know if Willem and Shelley, you want to jump in?
We can continue talking a bit more about all of this as we go through the program. So yeah.
Wonderful. And here I just have some pictures of the campus. Maybe some of you came to Railroads before, if you want to use your little emojis here and interact. If you have come to Railroads before. As a side note, we're welcoming thousands of people tomorrow for convocation. So hopefully if you join a program, you will graduate in a few years. So people will come on campus to enjoy Hatley Castle. We have many gardens, the Japanese garden, Rose Garden, Italian garden. We have the Esquimalt Lagoon on the bottom left. So the campus is facing the lagoon, which is a bird sanctuary as well. And as I mentioned, online learning for 25 years. So this is really who we are. There's much more to say, but feel free to go on the website and discover and just explore around, because the campus is very magical. And we are a changemaker campus. So what does that mean? The changemaker campus is that we're an innovative approach to education that prepares students as they address world problems, encourage others, and act for the good of all. So there's just a few campuses in Canada that are accredited by Ashoka U. And as well, that means that we're all about entrepreneur skills, innovation, and how we can create a better world all together. So again, I invite you to just go online and research what is an Ashoka campus. You will find more details. And here we go with Shelley to learn more about the program itself.
Hi, everyone. Good morning again. So I'm Shelley Jones, and I'm the program head for the BAIS program. And I'm going to talk a little bit about what's involved. And so thanks again for joining. So who is BAIS for? BAIS is quite an interesting and innovative program. And for me, it's quite an exciting program because it really speaks to people who have an idea of something they would like to do in the world, and that can see how we can bring different disciplines together to make that happen. So for example, maybe you're interested in communication, in justice studies, in business, and or environmental practices and sciences. These are the undergraduate programs that we have at Royal Roads. And through the BAIS program, you can choose from amongst these different disciplines in order to integrate them into something that makes sense for you as an integrated program. And most of the BAIS students actually come with an idea. Maybe they're already working in the field and would like to gain some more experience, would like to do a bit more research in the area, would like to work towards a promotion or even a career change. And they come in with an idea of what it is they would like to do. And this is a flexible undergraduate program. So it can be done completely online. It can be done combination of on campus and online. And also there's up to 12 credits you can take at another institution with approval from the program head and transfer those into your program. So things that we may not offer at Royal Roads, it doesn't stop you at all from taking those courses. So 12 credits is the equivalent of 4 3-credit courses. So quite a number can be transferred in from other institutions. The ideal, I guess, students in the BAIS program are self-directed, motivated in their sort of path of where they're going, and comfortable working on an individualized program, but also experiencing what it is like to work on teams when you join other courses in other departments and schools. So the structure of BAIS, again, this is an interesting and sort of unique aspect of it, is you work one-on-one with the program advisor, actually, which is Willem, and he'll be talking to you a bit later, to design your program. So you decide which courses that you're going to be taking, how this makes sense to what you're ultimately wanting to achieve, and a timetable with your course schedule will be prepared together in consultation with Willem, and then also approved by the program head. Now, at this point, the BAIS program is for students who have completed first and second year university or are admitted through flexible admission, which we'll talk about later. However, in September 2023, we will be offering a new undergraduate program starting from first year, which is called Common Foundations. So at this point, we're waiting on a few things before we make a sort of grander public announcement, but just to keep that in mind, September 2023 is when we are planning on offering undergraduate programming starting from year 1. And that would be a first-year entry into the BAIS program. Okay, thank you. So the BAIS program structure begins with 3 required courses at the beginning, which are INDS 300, Writing Across Disciplines. And in this course, you learn about sort of writing styles in different disciplines and how you can articulate ideas and use different kinds of styles and formatting in terms of responding to the different writing that is required in these different disciplines, and also how you can integrate work from different disciplines into your writing. And this is a good refresher course in writing, as well as a good introduction into interdisciplinary writing. This is followed by INDS 310, which is the Introduction to Interdisciplinary Studies. And this, again, will be focused on how do you work within disparate or diverse subject areas and bring them together cohesively and coherently to further an idea, further the exploration of a problem research issue. And then this is followed by INDS 400, which is Global Perspectives on Indigenous Ways of Knowing. Following these first 3 required courses, then you will take 42 credits of courses taking at 3rd and 4th year levels in an academic specialization, which you will have discussed with Willem in terms of planning your program. And again, you're able to transfer here up to 4 courses or 12 credits from other institutions in areas that we may not offer courses that you're interested in including in your program. And then at the very end of your program, you've got 9 credits that are taken for your professional focus area. And this is an area that you've decided you've been working towards throughout your program. And INDS 417 is a 3-credit course, and this is an independent study course where you're working one-on-one with the supervisor. And here it's almost like a literature review course, because you're surveying the literature related to your particular professional focus topic, and doing, in a sense, the groundwork and the prep work for INDS 490, which is your final research paper or project, and that is a 6-credit course. And again, you'd be working one-on-one with your supervisor. And we'll be talking a little bit about more about these courses in a few minutes. There's also an interesting and kind of unique aspect of the BAIS program in which you can take an internship as an elective. And this can be very helpful to you and interesting and valuable in terms of where you are in your career path. So you may want to experience something that maybe is brand new to you. You may be working in a job and you would like to explore a different aspect of that job. This internship can be paid or unpaid, as long as it, meets the requirements of an internship and makes sense within your own program and is approved by the program head. You can take an internship anywhere in the world. It can even be online. So again, I'll return to the professional focus, which I was talking about a little earlier, which is how the program culminates. These are your last 2 courses in the program. And each of these 2 courses is supervised one-on-one so you and a faculty member work together. And this, your supervisor can either be, sorry, faculty from Royal Roads or from another institution, and or doesn't even necessarily have to be faculty, just somebody with expertise in the particular area that you're interested in working in with certain qualifications. So INDS 417, again, is the independent study, which is the course that where you kind of do the groundwork towards your for INDS 490, which is your senior research paper and project. INDS 417 is 3 credits, and INDS 490, your final course, is 6 credits. And in a sense, having these 2 courses at the end, working one-on-one with the supervisor, is a much more of a graduate kind of experience, not often or rarely actually offered at an undergraduate level program. So this is something that I think that students really gain a lot from, working one-on-one with their supervisors in order to further their knowledge in a specific area. And so for, we thought that it might be of interest to you to hear about what some of the projects, final research papers and projects have been for former BAIS students. And this is where they've worked one-on-one with their supervisors to create these projects and papers. One of them is, what does it all mean? A guide for employers. It looks at the labor market and the underrepresentation of particular individuals and how that might contribute to the labor market. Emotional intelligence in the workplace, early childhood outdoor education, and what that means and different perspectives on that. Another one is age and gender trends in the Canadian nursing workforce. And one that was done fairly recently is the effects of COVID-19 and what this has meant for vulnerable women in Latin America. So as you can see, these are all incredibly diverse and quite specific topics. And the final professional focus courses really gives you this opportunity to hone in on something that's of specific interest to you. And if you do combine that with an internship prior to that, you can really gain quite a lot of practical, lived, as well as academic experience in an area that you're looking at. Can you go back to one slide? Yeah, go back one slide. Was the request. Did you want some time to read it through?
Thank you, Shelley. And maybe this is a good moment for me to just have a look at those examples. And
sure.
If we then go back to the beginning of the program, right? How can you design a program that will end up here? Now, I watched a few webinars myself recently over the last couple of days, and I just realized most of those webinars are very focused on what the goal is and the objectives in that program, right? And we don't do that, as you see here, because you create your own objective. So if I allow, I believe we spent enough time on this slide now. So if you don't mind, I'll take it away and show you the program guide. And just keep this example of emotional intelligence, for example, and a guide for employers, those 2 examples. Let's have a look at that and see how that could work if you are designing your own program. Just to be sure, Nancy, you can see the program guide I've opened here, right? Yeah. Okay.
Yes,
now,
thank you. Thank you, Willem. Yeah, we can see it.
Yeah, so Rhonda put already in the chat the link to this guide, and this is kind of your go-to resource as a prospective applicant, as you right now, or as an applicant to see how this program can look like. And it's also listed on the website, but I encourage you to go to this webpage, commons.royalroads.ca, because we have all the prerequisite, co-requisites, and any other information we need to give you is all listed here. So let's say the person who did something around emotional intelligence, right? Now, Shelley, you mentioned you can take 12 credits in program at other universities. Now, this person, for example, in this case, he took about 4 courses around emotion, psychology, sociology, interpersonal communication kind of courses at another university. And many students take courses at Athabasca, for example. So what he did is he combined those external courses with courses from the Royal Roads. And for example, in his case, he took a combination of some professional communication, right? So there's foundation of digital communication, I believe he took internal, external communication. There's a few other communication courses that he took, and then he went to business management, took a course around leadership here, right? There is a course around the human side of business, which is more around organizations, how organizations make up the culture it is creating, right? So I believe he took even 1 or 2 justice studies courses. There's a course around gender diversity he took, I believe, indigenous justice perspectives. And I believe also, I think that was about it. So what he did there was after the first 2 courses, 3 courses, I'd say, he took Roy Rose courses focused around emotional intelligence as much as he could, then took externals, and then ended up like that with his entire program towards that end report. So in this case, this person was quite, I would say in a way, advanced about his ideas, right? Which is difficult. Not all students are. We have students coming in who honestly have no idea what they're going to do, and that's okay, because then you can just pick up a few more foundational courses at the beginning and work your way through a moment in time that you say, okay, now I know what I want. Then we can speak, we can change the schedule, and then move towards that last goal of this kind of capstone, I would say. So that's another thing of the BAIS program, is there's a lot of flexibility with the courses you choose, right? There's not flexibility within the course. With the course of the Royal Road says, as Nancy, maybe you speak to that later, I'm not sure, but it's quite rigid in the sense that it's 10 weeks often, there is clear assignments, there's units, so there's no flexibility there, but which course you place where, and changing courses because you changed your goals, that is, I think, one of the strengths of the program. So have a look around at this program guide if you like later on. So just to speak a bit more about residency courses, right? We offer, and the word residency means with our university blended learning, which is often an on-campus component sandwiched, I would say, if you like sandwiches, in between 2 online components. For example, communication here, 4 courses offered simultaneously. They start off with like 3 weeks online, they go on campus for 2 weeks. So it's kind of an intensive learning experience, right? For 2 weeks, you're fully engaged in learning with a cohort. So, and then afterwards, again, another 3 or 4 weeks online, kind of close off those courses. And you can actually include have access to 2 residency courses, one from the justice and one of the professional communications, the one I showed. So ideally, we place this as early as you can in your program of study. And then afterwards, you branch out to other online courses, right, from those 5 areas, or you have a look externally in case you're interested in psychology and sociology or very specific business courses we don't offer, then that will be a great way to do. I think that kind of shows you a little bit for yourself to look around and see what we offer. And if that sparks any questions, then yeah, send me an email. I'll put my email in the chat. And otherwise, yeah, I would say just send me an email. Back to you, Ken. Nancy. Oh, the example programs. Shelley, would you like to speak to that? Or shall I also have a look at that?
Go ahead, Wim.
Yeah.
You're on a bit of a roll here, which is
Yep.
great. So like, yes, take this and talk about this sample program of social justice and communication.
Yeah, so the slide you saw before about the professional focus topics, this is kind of then in theory, right? So focus on social justice. So social justice, you probably get the idea, right? You pick up quite some courses from the justice area here. You can take some foundational Canadian Constitution and then work your way through some of those. And then, for example, take an external course around not-for-profit organizations, because we don't specifically have a course on that, or focus on that in your capstone research. Right? That's possible too. You can also tap into a new topic and move bring that into your professional focus at the end. So overall, many of our students, I think that's what this slide speaks to too, is many of our students are within social justice. We have a lot of students from the government too, right, who focus on certain issues within provincial government or yeah. So I think that's about it. What I can say about this. Am I missing anything, Shelley?
Nope, that's great.
Yeah. And then the declaration of concentration. Well, this is something that might be of interest to you, because back in the day, and I would say 15 years ago, we have an MA program as well, which actually will lead, the BA would lead perfectly into the MA as well. So just to mention that. But 15 years ago, interdisciplinarity wasn't as well established as a term and as a field, I would say. It's kind of a field of study too, right? Interdisciplinarity. 15 years ago wasn't that well established. So we answered about 5 years ago to a question from our students is, how can I explain my degree to my employer, right? And I think the first most important thing is that you will be working on a credential at Royal Roads University, right? We're a reputable institution. You will end up with a BA, a Bachelor of Arts, which gives you rigidity. It's a certain level of thinking and academic rigor you've gone through, right? That we secure. But because interdisciplinarity is sometimes difficult to explain, the degree itself gives you a chance to a potential employer or to your current employer to explain what you've done. But we offer an additional option here is to have your, I would say, your concentration. So a declaration of a concentration. So the area you have focused on, let's say it's around social justice. Let's say it's about social justice and communication. We have a student who works on social justice issues, animal related issues, and communication. So how can we, for example, explain to children better about the environment and what climate change mean and what species as risks mean, for example, right? That's more of an environment focused stream. In this case, she can then put it on her declaration of concentration. So it's transcribed. In this case, could be, for example, justice or justice related communication or something. We have a process for that, and there's an X amount of characters. So that's an option you have, just to answer to that, I would not say vagueness, but the openness of interdisciplinarity.
Yeah, I think that's important. And it also, I think, helps you as a student also focus on what it is that you've been working towards. And so it's not a major per se, like you would get it as an undergraduate typically, but it is a concentration that is very specific to you and to your program. And this, as Willem said, can be very helpful in terms of explaining what your degree focus was and helping other people understand what it is that you learned and what it is you're hoping to accomplish.
I really appreciate what both of you just added, because having done a BAIS program myself, I always struggle with my employers after that to explain it. So I think that's very clever that we do that at Railroads, to have like a bit more, background to provide with people of what we have been doing during those 2-3 years. Yeah. Wonderful. And I think the next one, Willem, we have been there. Is there anything you want to add on the, I think that was very nice that we look at the website. Yeah.
Yeah. I just realized I jumped ahead a little bit too far. Not much to add here at this point. No, I just maybe one more thing I just quickly wanted to show you is on the left-hand side here. So if you go to the main page, right, the guide on the left-hand side is before and during applying frequently asked questions, right? And you can see a few of the questions that you might have that we've kind of compiled over the past, couple of years. And they're explained here. So for example, what will my schedule actually look like? And there's 2 examples here that you can have a look at. No one schedule is similar to another. So that's it with the BAIS. Our courses are relatively small because we have a very unique audience, right? It's difficult to study entirely full-time at the BAIS program because you're going into so many different areas that combining that into 5 or 6 courses at a time is just too intense. So most of our students take maybe 1 to 2 courses at a time, and then you end up with about 2.5 to 3 years of completion time, which is lengthy, but again, you don't have to sacrifice the rest of your life for your BA, right? So let's look at a couple of those questions here. The other thing here is what Shelley had mentioned is there are some options to take externals. We have a process for that, right? So in this case, that's all described during your program. Have a look at those questions, and that's what I'll leave it with. Otherwise, it will take too much time. Yeah, thank you.
I really appreciate that we have that resource. That's beautiful. So we can just go there and have a look. And here, let's move on to how to apply. You got a lot of information. Thank you, Shelley and Willem. That's very interesting. I think we can understand way better how it works. And now how to apply. So again, railroads.ca, the website is the place where you will find most of the information. You can go under admission and see all the steps, 1, 2, 3. I think there's 10 steps that you can follow to apply. And what we do at Railroads University is we have a standard admission and we have a flexible admission. And this is not something you need to decide in advance or like check a box. This is the team that will decide if you meet the requirement, as we can see here, for standard admission. So a diploma in art and science field of study and a minimum of 24 second-year credits with a minimum GPA of B. And as we mentioned, those things will change if you apply in September 2023 for the 4 years option. But the website will be updated for sure. And if you don't meet those requirements and you're like, oh, wow, I still want to apply, I want to do a BAIS program, then you will kind of be assessed on the flexible admission. So you don't meet the requirement, but you have 3 to 5 years of professional experience in a related area. You are able to demonstrate the competency expected of a graduate for a 2-year degree in art and sciences, and you are assessed on a case-by-case basis. And the assessment on a case-by-case basis is very important because you can apply now for the next cohort or maybe the one in 2023. And on a daily basis, we will review application. So this is really cool. You don't have to wait for a specific deadline. You can just go as you're ready to apply, you can do that. And I really like what Willem said and Shelley. I think their team are really there to help you out to build a program. So this is something pretty unique that you will find at Railroads. And here we have a little summary of how to apply. So you will go online, as I mentioned, you pay a small fee of $131.36, and then you will get your application ID and you can start sending your documents. So you will submit your official transcript from any post-secondary institution you attended in the past. Even if that institution is 5-10 years ago, you'll still need to ask that institution to send the transcript to our team. And then you will have a course schedule that you will have organized with the team at the school. And then if you're flexible admission, you will be required to send us a detailed resume, personal statement, 2 letters of reference. And the resume will be really to show us what's your work experience, volunteer experience, what you have done. The personal statement can be a very good point of entry to let us know why you want to go in the program, what have you done in the past, if you were away from school, or maybe your last transcript, like you have a little, like some grade that you're not proud of, you can just explain us why. So yeah, just letting us know a bit more about yourself. And 2 letters of reference will be sometimes one from the academic side, one from the professional side, depending on what you can get, and your referees will send them directly to our team. And maybe Willem or Shelley, do you have anything to add on those requirements?
Yeah, I had to laugh when you said there could be 10 or 15 years ago. There could be much older too, those transcripts, because many of our students are older in the BAIS program. There's an average age sits, I think, around 35 to 40, Shelley, I believe, more or less. So we have older students in generally, but also younger students. It just made me laugh because, yeah, it could be quite older.
It can be.
The other thing I quickly want to mention is that because we have those program required courses, right? And that's the IDS 300 and 310, and they start on the first one starts on the 15th or the 7th of September. I'm not 100% sure, actually, one of the two. And once you've taken those first 2 courses, then you can move on with other electives. It's kind of a precursor into the program. So I believe if you application is complete, right? So signed off, all the documents are there by, I would say, the first week of August, it's still feasible for us to adjudicate your application and then for our register office to enroll you if you are admitted, right? So keep that in mind, that the sooner the better, but the ultimate deadline to get everything ready, I would say, is by the first week of August to have your files completed. Because the reason is we have to create that individual learning plan, right? That will then also become part of your application. Yep. Thank you.
Wonderful. Thank you so much. And here, as the website mentioned, the deadline is still June 12th, but totally Willem. So hopefully that deadline will be extended. So if some of you are interested, I think I forgot to mention that Rhonda White from the enrollment team is with us today. She's behind the scene posting a lot of links. We'll make sure to send all those links when we send the recording link. But yeah, feel free to connect with Rhonda if you have questions about deadlines, if you're like, I really want to get in for September, what do I need to do? So Rhonda will be happy to help you. And here I added some testimonials that you can also find on the website. So there's a section on the website called testimonial that you can review experiences from our grads. If you want to take a print screen or pictures, as Lindsay was mentioning in the chat. So I like to learn from others. I like to know what people have done. And I think Shelley and Willem did a beautiful work as just sharing some examples of what people have been working on. And I see Lindsay, I'll just finish my 2 last slides and we'll move on with questions. Thank you. And just here, an important component, as we know, financial aid. So another slide I recommend that you take a picture of, a print screen, and please visit the website royalroads.ca for financial aid, because the team there, they really have a lot of resources to help you with internal loan, external loan, how you can connect to make sure that we can support with some funding if we can, or how can you find the funding to go back to school and pursue your dream. And as we wrap up the presentation here, for more information, feel free to use a phone number. The email address to reach Rhonda and her team will be learn.more@royalroads.ca. And we also have a WhatsApp call. So if you want to just scan it, you can connect instantly with someone from our team to ask any question about the presentation and the program. Thank you for joining us. I see we have a few questions in the chat, so I'll go there and maybe Willem and Shelley, you can help me there. And just a picture of Peacock, because I'm excited if some of you come on campus. This is kind of one of the icons of campus. We have peacocks everywhere. And I like to look at our social media those days because there's plenty of pictures of them. And that's very beautiful and unique to Railroads. So thank you again, everyone, for your time, and feel free to use the chat for some questions.
Yeah, and if you like, Nancy, I see one question here from Lindsay, and it's around the residency intensive learning time on campus, right? And so yeah, the BAIS does have one intake a year, which is in September. But there are some other options if you do some work or to see if you could do some work prior elsewhere. That is always an option. So I would say connect with me, and then we can speak more to that. So with regards to those residency periods, we do have on-campus residencies here. These are actually the old residencies of the military college. They're an original little gun closet. Detail I wanted to share. I'm not sure if I should share that, but it's tiny little rooms, and that we have a special department who takes care of that. But I would actually suggest you stay on campus, or at least close by campus during that period, because you're deeply involved and you go pretty deep in the learning, right, with the rest of the cohort members. So if you're not there, I would say close by, or you're not with it, then you might in a way miss out of the learning experience, even if you want to reflect by yourself afterwards. So each of those 2 residency programs, right, who manage them, in this case, professional communication, the BA of professional communication, and the justice program, they have their own unique schedule. And I've seen them before, but they change a lot. So basically what you have is you have an overview of daily activities, and there could be evening activities involved as well. I'm not certain if they're mandatory or not, but I would say look at it as, will it benefit you in your learning? I think that's the question, and some of them definitely might. Look, downtime with your cohort members might be a great way to improve the teamwork together for example, right? So I leave it up to you, but it would be best if you stay close to campus during those periods, just to enhance your learning experience.
And of course, the residencies are optional electives, right? You don't have to take them. So,
That's
but
right.
yeah, generally speaking, people do stay on campus for the residencies because they are very intense.
Yeah. And I think that leads to one of the questions we often get about how many hours per week should I expect to be studying. So as you mentioned, residency are kind of apart because you're really fully immersed in your learning, and you will do like kind of Monday to Friday if you're on campus. But what would you say? I know that other program, we will say about 10-15 hours maybe per week that you can expect when you are at school. Is that the same for BAIS?
Yeah, it's difficult to say because there are so many factors involved, right? How much learning proficiency, if you've never been to school for a really long time, for 20 years, or let's say you've never completed the BA or never been in university, then expect things to take a little bit slower. Reading proficiency is lower, understanding of reading of articles. But yeah, I mean, a full-time schedule can be up to 5 courses. So I think on average for the undergraduate, I would say at least 10 to 12 hours a week, I would say would be a good general measure. And there's ups and downs, right? At the beginning, I usually, myself, I did in the past, take more time to get a structure going. And then towards the middle, kind of lean out a bit. And the end, often more assignments come in. So then you're heavier on the time again. So it depends on the course. But overall, with the BAIS program, because you're a parachuted and a parachute into other programs, right? You need a bit more time to get used to the cohort members there in that program, in that course, but also to the linguistic part of how things are being discussed, what the culture is. So understanding that you're going into other programs and that you're landing into other program cultures and other fields is important, because that needs that flexibility that Shelley spoke to as well. And that for some can take more time because, for example, you have to do some pre-work on certain terms that those students in those courses know, but you haven't just quite gone through it as good as they have. So you got to kind of get yourself back up to speed in some cases. But the instructor is most important there. They are always there. You can reach out to them and they know our BAIS students as well. So they know what to expect. So that's helpful. So to answer the question, how much time? It's difficult to say, but say about 10 to 12 hours a week for a course.
Wonderful. And I like what you just said about jumping kind of with a different cohort and a different course. And I think it's a beautiful experience to get, like, then you get on the market and you're ready to go, because we have so much to deal with, many teams those days. So I think that's, a very nice outcome and competency to build. Yeah. Did I miss any other question in the chat? Lindsay, maybe let us know if you have, if that answers your question. Perfect, it does. Wonderful, everyone. Thank you again for your time. So we'll let you go. We'll update the recording link on our YouTube channel, and I'll make sure to send it by email with you. So again, Shelley and Willem and Rhonda, everybody who is here today, thank you for your time. And we hope to see you soon. And we hope to see you maybe in September in the cohort and in the program.
Yeah, thanks so much for joining us today.
Thank you, Nancy, for organizing this.
And yes, thanks, Nancy.
You're welcome. Thank you, everyone.
Bye-bye.
Bye-bye.